of sports analysis, both local and international. Thank you for making time this afternoon and getting onto the broadcast. You are with me, Bill Clinton Odiambo, alongside my colleague, Mr. Felix Makona. My second language interpreter this afternoon is Gideon Maina. Mr. Makona, how are you, sir?
Today I'm really fine.
Yes.
And a proud person this weekend, knowing that despite not having the home leagues or the league that we are used to, like the English Premier League,
yes,
we still have the international.
Right.
And the most big thing is the Deaflympics have flown to Tokyo, Japan.
Right.
And also, for the first time, Messi has played on African soil.
Indeed. A lot of content there to take a look at. Of course, our channels of communication are officially open. 0111 980 is our SMS and WhatsApp number. Scientific Kenya across all social platforms. Be sure to catch up with us and send us your thoughts and opinions. Of course, just the way Makona has mentioned, a lot of football action to take a look at, despite the usual English Premier League taking a break. We have the international actions, and this is with regard to the Euro qualifiers ahead of the World Cup 2026 set for next year. Also, we had the CAF playoffs, that is the African qualifiers, and it is quite interesting to see how the teams are playing out since Thursday, and we're going to take a look at that, of course. And Messi and Argentina made a trip to Africa.
Yeah.
Many had not anticipated this, but we're going to talk about why it happened and why it was quite a big moment for Angola, who played against Argentina. That Argentina, they were hosted by Angola in their home soil. And we're going to talk about that in a few. But of course, let's start off, Makona, with some of the Euro qualifications or Euro qualifiers ahead of the World Cup 2026. The actions began on Thursday, and it was quite intense. Of course, despite the fact that many are expecting some of the top teams to, of course, play, top international teams to play in the World Cup. And but then again, let's kick off with for example, the England versus Serbia game that England won 2-0. And just some of the action that did take place. We also had the likes of France and Ukraine, where France went ahead to win 4-0. But let's start with the group stage action between England and Serbia. Did you see this as an easy win for England?
Yeah, it is an easy win for England,
right,
knowing that, first of all, many of the players in England, especially that are playing in the national team,
right,
are from the English Premier League.
Yes.
And the English Premier League has been turned into the best league in the world. And these players, when they go there, they are going there as the best. And even if these players are not playing in England, most of them are playing for top clubs like Real Madrid,
right,
Bayern Munich,
right,
that is Hurricane, Real Madrid,
Bellingham there.
Jude Bellingham.
Yes.
And these players have been performing at the highest level. So when it comes to playing in the World Cup qualifier, and especially facing Serbia, that means that it is an easy game for a team like England.
Right.
Especially, that Bukayo Saka scoring, Eberechi Eze coming from the bench and scoring too.
Right.
That shows you that most of the players that dominated the game were from England.
Yes.
And especially, I may not mention really Arsenal, but I want you to take a look, and you will know by yourself that these players were from Arsenal. Bukayo Saka, obvious, from Arsenal, scoring the first goal. Then, as a score, some facts we must tell you, because we cannot neglect these facts that they are from one club.
Right.
And also, Declan Rice was good in that midfield.
Yes.
He made sure that he controlled the midfield from the start to the finish of the game.
Right.
Also, Pickford on his other side, and the defense also, the likes of Mark Guehi, they really performed very well. And that shows you that England, they are a step away from qualifying to the World Cup.
Yes.
Of course, up to now, the team that qualified was only France, the game that played previously. But in this competition, we have to see the likes of England, France, these big nations, Spain, they must qualify. Those are the obvious ones that we are used to seeing. But on this side, England has already shown that they will qualify.
Actually, I think adding to the matches today with that particular win, there are only three teams that have already qualified. That is France, like you mentioned, And I also think that win against Serbia gave England a place in the slots because they have won all their games so far.
Yeah.
They so far played games. They managed to win all of them, having 21 points, and they're leading Group K. So I think automatically they have already qualified. And but then again, I want to speak on the scope depth. I know. As an Arsenal fan, I know you're thumping your chest, but that's allowed, right?
Yeah.
But there's a particular comment that coach Thomas Tuchel made ahead of the game against Serbia, and this was quite evident, where he mentioned that the likes of Kane, the likes of Bellingham, and Phil Foden, these three players, he's having an issue playing. He's having a hard time playing the three of them together because of the quality that they both possess. When you look at a player like Bellingham and Foden, they can play both as number 10s.
Yeah.
And then it would mean one has to start on the bench. But then again, one can easily say also that it depends with the kind of team they are playing against. For example, if you are going to play a team ahead of the World Cup, maybe when you're going to play a top team like Spain, you might change the kind of tactics that you're going to use. Perhaps use a holding midfielder, an attacking midfielder, and this is where a player like Jude Bellingham can come into an advantage of Phil Foden. But just to speak on scope depth, England looking like one of the threatening teams ahead of the World Cup next year. Would you agree?
I agree.
Yes, and maybe if you tie a point to that comment by Thomas Tuchel.
I will say, first of all, when Tuchel was taking over the England national team,
yes,
Tuchel is not an Englishman. He's from Germany.
Right.
That is true. And when you say Tuchel has taken over England, there were those critics from the media saying that we have never seen a coach from another country coaching a national team in the other country. Right. And that brought an online conversation that many tend to say that it is so difficult for something like that to happen in football. The same as the selection of players.
Right.
When you are coming to a new team and you are not used to be there, there's some of a shift in the way you have to take your players, yes, especially the stars. Harry Kane will want to play, Jude Bellingham will want to play, yes, also Phil Foden will want to play. Right. That happens not only in England but also in other nations. Yes. Look at France, Spain. For example. Yes, Spain. Spain, you in the midfield, when Rodri is fit, that of Manchester City, he has to start, yes, ahead of Zubimendi. Right. That is, of course, what you know. But since Rodri has been down, we have been having Zubimendi featuring in that midfield. Right. The same to England. When you find the like of someone like Declan Rice, yes, or Jude Bellingham, right, maybe he's injured like he was injured the other time. So he had an injury on his shoulder and he has been recovering slowly by slowly. Then at some point, Phil Foden was down. Yes. So you will have to look at the replacement and, yes, the best replacement, yes, to come in and play in that role. So that is what Tuchel is trying to do. He's trying to balance the team so that even the upcoming stars, like the likes of Kobe Maino, right, they can come in the second half and have an effect on the game. Yes. And they have to be used to be playing in the national team for them to adapt. Look, for example, they didn't call Miles Lewis-Skelly from Arsenal. Yes. And he has been performing at the highest level. Right. This is because they want to give others a chance to make sure that they prove themselves in the national team. Yes. Remember, already Miles Lewis-Skelly has proved himself at Arsenal and has proved himself in the England national team. So it is a time for others to come in.
I think they had Nico O'Reilly this time round in that particular position.
Yeah. Yes. Bringing in Nico O'Reilly, yes, means that you have to look at other options. Right. So that even when Miles Lewis-Skelly is injured, on the other side, on the right back, when Trent Alexander-Arnold is injured, right, who are you going to play there? Yes. We have the likes of Reece James. Yes. They have to play there. The likes of Ben White and many others that are still young and they are still developing. Right. So I think it is a good show for the coach, Thomas Tuchel, to make sure that he balances the team. Of course, if you have to go with superstars, right, they will fail you. And I like the the skill that was used by Pep Guardiola.
Right.
In his coaching career, he said there's only one player that he could not bench, and that was Messi.
Lionel Messi.
And the likes of Pep Guardiola, they are experienced coaches.
Very experienced.
And when they tell you something like that, it
that
means
is
when Messi is in the squad, he improves everyone in the squad.
Yes.
And everyone would like to play well when he's playing with Messi in the same team. So the same to England. England has to make some changes to make sure that it fits that of the required standards to beat any team, any opponent.
Right.
Against Serbia, we saw they mixed even youngsters, and they made sure that the game they won with a clean sheet. And that is a good show for Thomas Tuchel.
Without a doubt, Thomas Tuchel has a lot of players in store. Should he want to use in different positions?
Yeah.
Right. Like, for example, the way you mentioned, Arsenal having Eze coming in and as a substitute. He came in for Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, who has been doing really well in Barcelona since he went on loan from Manchester United. And you can see some of the quality of the team that he has at the moment is very rich quality of players. Bellingham, just like you mentioned, he came back. He's back from the injury slowly, but he's a player who is full of quality. And coming in against Morgan Rogers, of course, against Serbia also. That's another scope depth. Morgan Rogers being a good player from Aston Villa who is enjoying another international call-up, proves himself against a manager like Tuchel, who, of course, has a lot of experience working previously with Chelsea, the likes, and the likes of Bayern Munich as well. So it's a commendable performance against Serbia, where England managed a 2-0 win against Serbia with goals from Saka and Eze, all Arsenal boys there in action. They are in action, of course, on Tuesday against Albania, or maybe tomorrow, I think, against Albania, which will be some sort of a walkover.
Yeah, that's a walkover.
That's a
for
walkover,
England,
right?
And that's for sure.
Maybe predictions as you speak to that.
I think England win 3-0.
Yes.
And most of the players will now withdraw because after this game, I know England will be qualifying against Albania.
Yes.
If they win that game, they will be qualifying. So I don't see Albania having that impact that will make England field their most experienced players.
Exactly.
They will field the youngsters. Maybe this is the time for the likes of Nico O'Reilly to come in and showcase their talent.
Right.
So I know England will beat Albania 3-0.
Wonderful. Now, let's move on to another quick, interesting match that did take place. Ireland, that is the Republic of Ireland, should I say, managed to hurt Portugal 2-0 with news making headlines. Cristiano Ronaldo being handed a straight red card for his first time playing in the international scene. But that, to say that hiyo kwanza, of course, the Messi fans and anti-Ronaldo fans, you're going to speak to that in a moment. But what a commendable performance from Northern Ireland. 2 goals from Parrott in the first half rather, managed to give Northern Ireland a commanding, solid performance against Portugal, winning 2-0. Should this be a glimpse of what to expect in the World Cup? These big teams should pay attention to these other teams, or should that be small teams?
I will say the World Cup is full of surprises.
Right.
And even last time we saw Morocco beating Spain.
Yes.
We have not been used to an African team beating a European team.
Right.
That has been so
hard, difficult.
It is something out of this world, I can say, because Morocco, Spain, even if a child is asked between Morocco and Spain, who are you placing your bet on? He will tell you straight Spain.
And that is because of the many factors.
Yeah, so because of many factors, experience, the players, the team they come from, and their names also. But I will say Northern Ireland beating Portugal, it means that it is going to be competitive ahead. And also when you come playing against a team like Portugal, France, there is that motivation within players, especially from these big nations, that is, in this case, Portugal.
Right.
The likes of Cristiano Ronaldo knew they were going to beat Northern Ireland. And Cristiano Ronaldo was sure I was going to score in this game. You know that
yes.
Ronaldo is looking to reach 1,000 career goals.
Right.
And currently is around 950, there 960.
Yes.
So he needed to add his tally to maybe 2 goals, 3 goals. But unfortunately, he found that Northern Ireland were playing as a nation.
Right.
And they came in as underdogs. They never believed we are going to beat Portugal. But after the first goal, they managed to add the second one, knowing that we are winning this game. And on the other hand, Portugal, in what they believed is that we are going to win this game from the start. And that's what failed Portugal terribly. And also, the defense lapses from Portugal. You could see the defense of Portugal is not that defense we have used to be seeing from them. The likes of Pepe, I think Portugal needs
Right.
to make something in their defense, because Northern Ireland coming in twice, especially the same person, it means he had studied that defense very well and knew that if I pass here, I'm going to score against Cristiano Ronaldo's side. But I will say it is a congratulation to Northern Ireland, and it shows that they fought for the best, and everyone, of course, wants to qualify. Despite them being the underdogs in that group, I think Northern Ireland can really qualify to the World Cup.
Right. We beg your pardon there. It is the Republic of Ireland.
Republic
And
of Ireland.
Yes, Republic of Ireland. And of course, you mentioned something there, the fact that, they played as a nation. Because, there's that mentality that I'm playing Makona. Makona is a top player,
Yeah.
top team, one of the best, considered one of the best players in the world. And he has this group of players, of course. When you play the likes of Bernardo Silva there,
Yeah.
other quality players in that national team who can really come up and upset. But then again, you go ahead and give that commendable performance. That goes to show you that these teams, the World Cup 2026, as one might assume, it can go either way for any other country. Because one thing that I've enjoyed with the progress of football so far is the fact that some of these many teams that have been seen as small nations, small countries, are doing so really well as far as the international scene is concerned. Now, as far as Group F is concerned, Portugal are on top of Group F with the 10 points after 5 games of being played. The Republic of Ireland are third with 7 points, and they're still in contention, ladies and gentlemen, because the likes of Hungary, who are second with 8 points, only a point ahead of Republic of Ireland, they are still two teams that can go either way for the two sides, and they can of course go ahead and either qualify in the second position, play for the playoffs later on. Portugal are in contention against Armenia, who are in fourth of the table. They are the last.
Yeah.
After 5 games, they have only managed 3 points. Maybe should Portugal pick themselves up next time round in this particular game? How do you see this panning out, Makona?
Portugal, currently, they are fighting something we call rising to the top.
Yes.
And, a team like that, especially Cristiano Ronaldo himself said he will retire after the next year World Cup.
Right.
So it is a fight for the team to qualify.
Yes.
I think that Armenia will be crucial for them to qualify. So
Yes.
let's hope Portugal qualifies and Cristiano Ronaldo plays his last ever career World Cup in the 2026 campaign.
Of course, in that particular game, he might miss it because of the red card for against Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
And there was one slight, should I say, scare.
Yeah.
People asking now with the usual happenings, so the usual rulings for FIFA. When you get a red card, you miss at least 2 games or at least 3 games, especially and this especially is for violent conduct.
Yeah.
Like for Ronaldo's case, where he elbowed a Republic of Ireland defender.
Yeah.
Now, perhaps he might miss the first game of the World Cup, should they qualify. He might miss the first game of the World Cup, but he will not miss the whole World Cup. This is just affect the first 2 games, of which the next 2 games, one of them is against Armenia tomorrow, and the first game perhaps of the World Cup. In the World Cup, the opening game perhaps. That is what he might miss. But then again, Hungary and Republic of Ireland will be seeking to qualify for the second place, and also ahead of the and for the playoffs. Now, these two teams are also playing tomorrow. And in your own perspective, the way Republic of Ireland played against Portugal, can they come up and have that confidence and beat Hungary? Hungary, who are in the second place with 8 points. And in the past 3 games, they have won twice, drew once. But when you see Republic of Ireland side, they have won twice, lost once. How will this go in your perspective?
I'll go with the Republic of Ireland.
Right.
Not Republic of Ireland, when they were beating Portugal, they was having something. They had an ambition either to qualify or to be near to qualifying.
Right.
So I think after beating Portugal, I don't think there's another team in that group that can come near that island. Ireland will make sure that through thin and thick, they will qualify.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And we are going to give you that particular highlight later on a little bit. And that is just an interesting take there because, you know, these two teams, Hungary and Ireland, two great teams, but of course, one of them have to come up as the winner tomorrow. Of course, another action that did take place, ladies and gentlemen, was Italy against this Macedonia.
Yeah.
Yes, Italy won 2-0. Was this expected of them? As you know, they were seeing a resurgence of an Italy side that missed last time in the World Cup, but this time having a lot of qualities. Are we seeing an Italy side that is coming up as a competitive side?
I'll say Italy have been doing this thing for some seasons now.
Right.
They have been qualifying, so it is in their tradition that it is among the big teams. It is like having a World Cup without the likes of France, England, Spain, Germany. So that means that these teams must be there.
Right.
And Italy is among them. So it is a team we expect to be in the World Cup. So it is nothing new to me for them winning 2-0.
Right.
But what I will say to Italy now, about Italy, they have been defending so much.
Yes.
They failed to attack. And those 2 goals, they came in just as, I will say, just as luck.
Right.
You know, Italy, they have been used to playing low block.
Right.
And that low block usually hurts some teams, especially if the opponent comes with that attack-minded and he wants to make mistakes against you, or he wants to foul you in the near your box. So when he fouls you near your box, you are sure that the opponent can utilize on those mistakes and score.
Right.
So there was some balls that Italy could have conceded in that game, and they were up to 3 open play goals that I was seeing. But thanks to the goalkeeper, he was saving them really very well. But I think in that game, if Italy did not play that defense very well, they could have conceded many goals. So
I mean, yes, that is very true because when you look at their group, they are in Group I, and they are just 3 points behind Norway.
Yeah.
But the way you mentioned, the fact that yes, 3 points are behind Norway at number 2 with 18 points, but you mentioned the fact that they defend a lot.
Yeah.
And that is something that has really cost them a lot as well because, and in that particular game against Moldova, they had 2 late goals, one in the 88th minute courtesy of Mancini, and the 90th plus second minute courtesy of Esposito. So when you look at the other qualifying teams around, whether Europe, whether Africa, whether South America or North America, you must have, despite, Sir Alex Ferguson once said, defense wins you titles, but also you have to score. You have to have yes, you have to have quality players up front in a front attacking side that can get you quality goals. When you look at the front 3 for Italy, the likes of Scamacca, the likes of Ossolini, these are players, of course, they are top players in European clubs, but not much. We're not seeing much of this front 3 as far as getting desirable results is concerned. So, ladies and gentlemen, of course, that was Italy with a 2-0 win against Moldova. But of course, just like Makona is mentioning, we are posing big question marks as far as Italy's progression in next year's World Cup is concerned, because they have a lot to do as far as attacking is concerned. When you look at Federico Chiesa, for example, at Liverpool, he's not getting much of playing time. Yeah. Something that a player of his quality will really want, so that he can be able to get those desirable positions, be able to get to be on form, and be able to also lead a side like Italy ahead of the World Cup 2026. One particular game that played on Thursday that also caught my eye was France against Ukraine. 4-0 against Ukraine with the likes of Hugo Ekatike being on the score sheet, Kylian Mbappe as well being on the score sheet. France is one of those teams that I would like to put in the same group like England or Spain, in the sense that they have a lot of squad depth, right? A lot of top players who can go out there and harm their opponents, whether you like it or not, whether you're Kitney or Tekni.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at, for example, the attacking quality that France has, right? Kylian Mbappe up front, Marcus Thuram up front, all right?
Yeah.
Hugo Ekitike up front.
Yeah.
A lot of quality players as far as attacking threat is concerned. Midfield,
And also Dembele is still out.
Dembele is still out, right? You know, we could go on and on and on to list this kind of players, but a dominant display of action against Ukraine. They automatically qualified, of course, for the World Cup. How do you see Spain? I mean, how do you see France being a tough opponent in next year's World Cup?
I'll say France is one of the teams that have already said that it must qualify.
Yes.
And especially playing against Ukraine, Ukraine was just a small nation, and it has no any authority to say that they can.
As far as football is concerned.
As far as football is concerned, they cannot beat France. But when it comes to war,
right.
if they were put in the same group as Ukraine, the likes of Israel,
that's a different situation.
That's a different situation. But now, when it comes to matters of football, I'll say even France scored those goals were easy goals.
Right.
I'll say they were easy goals. Look, after Mbappe scored that penalty,
right.
then the second goal was just an easy tap-in. There was no defense there.
Yeah.
It was just a rebound from the defense, and Mbappe managed to score.
Right.
So I will say in these teams, I'll say France is one of the best teams, and it must qualify.
Yes.
Also, we know France has been winning the titles. Even in 2022 against Argentina,
right.
France was nearly winning it with Kylian Mbappe scoring an hat-trick.
Yeah.
We have never seen a player score an hat-trick in the final of the World Cup.
Yes.
So it is one of the histories that France has made, and I think with the same spirit, France will continue to qualify and qualify and qualify.
Right. That is indeed, you know, they are a formidable team, so one can only expect them to go forward with the kind of players that they have. And they'll be a threat. But when you look at Group D, for example, France leading with 13 points, Iceland and Ukraine, apparently, Ukraine was a team dogo.
Yeah.
They're tying with 7 points, slightly behind France. But then again, Azerbaijan, who are the bottom with a single point. France are playing Azerbaijan next. One might consider this as a walkover because they've already qualified, so they may decide just to play for pride and for badge. Iceland and Ukraine, that is where the action is, because one of them must finish second, meaning they have to qualify for the playoffs and ahead, move on, of course, to qualify for the World Cup. So this is a great contest there. So there your point between the point saying Ukraine ni team ndogo.
Yeah.
Watakuona kando kidogo. Watakuona kando because they have a chance against Iceland. So it might go one way or another. The only situation there that might not give them that good grace of proceeding is the goal difference, because the goal difference there, Iceland are enjoying with quite a formidable number to try and qualify for the playoffs. Now, those are our football actions on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. On Friday, yesterday, of course, we also had mouth-watering clashes, Makona.
Yeah.
Croatia, of course, one of the teams to give us an entertaining match in the finals against France. Of course, they've already qualified. Yesterday, they played against Faroe Island, and they managed to stage a comeback win, 3-1 against Faroe Islands. And they secured a place in the World Cup. They are in Group L, and they did really well, commendably, really well. And maybe your thoughts and opinions as far as Croatia is concerned, Makona?
I'll say Croatia is one of the teams that even gave England themselves a headache.
Yes.
That is a headache in the 2018 World Cup final.
Right.
It was Croatia against France. And I remember the goalkeeper, Subasic, was saving the goal so much. And we had also another midfielder who was dribbling and almost scored. I've forgotten his name.
Right.
But Croatia has been some of the teams in Europe, despite them having not been known so much.
Right.
It is the teams that gives big teams headache. It is like the Brentford and the Brighton of the English Premier League.
Of the Premier
They
League.
don't let the big boys sleep.
Right.
They keep them on toes. So that is the Croatia of the World Cup. Remember also the star defender, that is Josko Vardiol, is also playing for Manchester City. So he is taking their experience. And I will say Croatia and Czech Republic in this group are looking likely. They are the most likely teams to qualify to the World Cup 2026, knowing that Czech Republic is a team that is maybe not widely known, but when you look at the playing style, it resembles that of the likes of Spain, and they are likely to be playing the same format.
Right.
And if I may say so, you will look at how they invert, especially when they are playing.
Right.
They make sure that they defend as a unit and they attack as a unit.
Yes.
That's what makes me to think Czech Republic alongside Croatia will qualify in that group L.
Right.
So that's just my prediction, but there's still one game to play in each group, and the games will be played after today.
Of course, Croatia they're not looking back and being worried because of the difference in points. They are 6 points ahead of Czech Republic, and I agree with you there. Czechia, they can be another favorites to proceed just behind Croatia. Yeah. And I like the way you mentioned Josko Guardiola, because apparently he was one of the players on the score sheet. Yeah. He opened up. He actually, after Faroe Islands scored the opening goals, he was the defender who started off the charge for the comeback. Replying in the 23rd minute. Then Musa and Vasalic later on gave Croatia the desired win. So of course, with this particular dominant performance, next time on, when they'll be playing, they fancy themselves to go ahead in the World Cup as strong contenders, because we've seen them before, especially in the 2018 World Cup, where I like the way you mentioned they can cause problems for big teams, and France were not having it easy. They had to bring out their quality among their players to try and get the win against Croatia. So Croatia is a formidable team. It's a really strong side, and with their qualification ahead of the World Cup next year, other teams should really be worried as far as the Croatians are concerned. Germany versus Luxembourg. Germany enjoyed a 2-0 win. This is one side that they are enjoying the fruits of attacking threat, Voltamed. Yeah. The new Newcastle striker is seemingly on top of things, or top of his prime as far as international game is concerned. He's scoring back-to-back international games. And this time against Luxembourg, he was also on target with a brace in the second half. How do you see Voltamed being a threat for Germany going forward?
I will say he has come in as a good replacement in the striking role for Germany. Right. Especially the likes of Kai Havertz are now injured.
Right.
And also, when it comes away from even the World Cup, in the English Premier League and the Champions League, he is just one of the signings that Newcastle did a very good job in signing.
Yes.
You know that no one knew about Nick Woltermed before he joined the English Premier League. But look, after Haaland, it is him with the goals scored in England.
Right.
So when you have a striker of that caliber, and especially taking Germany to the World Cup, despite the comeback of other strikers like Kai Havertz and others, I will say he should be given the starting option.
Starting 11, right?
Because he has proven himself, especially playing in the English Premier League. Right. And it is your first season in the English Premier League.
And he's doing really well.
Yeah, and he's really performing.
Right.
I will say kudos to Nick Woltermed, scoring 2 goals. That's a brace in this game. And also, despite him scoring, he contributes so much to the play, especially when it comes to set pieces. The defender is, the striker is long, as I can liken his length or height to that of Erling Haaland.
Right.
And is such a beast, especially when he positions himself very well, and he usually knows how to find the back of the net.
Right.
So congratulations, and let him continue to be the star. I think Newcastle don't have a regret now
Yes.
for selling Alexander Isak to Liverpool.
Yes.
Now that they have found a really good replacement for him, especially in the national team and also for the Newcastle English team that plays in the English Premier League.
Without a doubt, he has really settled in really well in that English team.
Yeah.
And of course, in the international side as well, earning his call up and doing really well. Of course, and you can only imagine for a player like Voltamed, being on form, scoring for both international and the clubs, give him that confidence going forward. As a player, and we should. I think when the play resumes next weekend, I'm pretty sure he'll be on the score sheet for Newcastle, because this kind of plays give you that kind of confidence, right? Yeah. Especially in the international scene, you come out scoring brace, even for the likes of Kylian Mbappe as well. You can imagine. After that, coming back to the league, he'll be he'll be flying high, scoring left, right, and center. But two desired goals against Luxembourg. One might look at Group A and look at Luxembourg and say, wako chini ya table.
Yeah.
They have not been enjoying back as actually they have 0 points in Group A. But Germany, despite having that particular good win against Luxembourg and getting the desired 3 points, they are sharing points with Slovakia. Both sides having 12 points on the table. Now, this is a concern. Why? Because they have to, one of them have to qualify automatically. And of course, this is now a tough chance for Slovakia, because themselves, they are seeing themselves as formidable options or for qualifiers in this particular group. And interestingly, these two are playing against each other next. And the name of the game is to win. Who is going to win between two sides, and who is going to try and qualify automatically? In own perspective.
I will go with Germany.
Right.
Because I will say Germany is a traditional World Cup player. It's a team that when it misses, they have to be there. They are the big boys currently, especially. They used to having these traditionals when the likes of Gundogan was there. Right. The players were
Arjen Robben.
Yeah, Arjen Robben. Yes. These players were used to be there, and they really made Germany look like a big boy, especially when it comes to the World Cup.
Right.
I don't remember the last time when Germany exited the World Cup in the group stages. No.
Right.
They have to go up to the semis, or if it is hard, they have to go to the quarterfinals.
Right.
So that is one thing we have to look at, especially when you find that Germany is playing any of the teams in this group. Let's say the example of Slovakia, Northern Ireland, and Luxembourg.
Right.
I don't see any of the teams being a competitor to Germany. Germany is a big boy in this group, and Germany alongside Slovakia are the teams that are most likely to qualify, because the last two have 6 points.
Right.
That is Northern Ireland, and Luxembourg have 0.
Right.
So I think I go with Slovakia and Germany. They will qualify automatically.
Yes, Slovakia, of course, enjoyed a 1-0 win against Northern Ireland, and they're coming into this fixture as a headache for Germany. And just like you mentioned, Germany have been there.
Yeah.
But this is football. Anything can happen. And this is, we've like we started off the show. I stated that in the modern football we are seeing, teams are evolving in various ways you cannot imagine, both tactically and mentally and physically playing. So the match against Germany and Slovakia is one to watch, because Slovakia can force Germany to the playoffs, or Germany might force Slovakia to the playoffs. I remember the big win for Germany was the 8-2 against Brazil.
Yeah.
That particular World Cup that I was supporting Brazil. I was very hard. I think it was 2014, if I'm not wrong.
It was 2014.
Yes, a very, very big disappointment for Brazil after Neymar got that injury and was out. Now, tegemeo la team.
Yeah.
Siyo kitu mbaya na tegemeo la team. But it was quite a big performance. And we want to see such kind of performances for Germany. Thomas Müller, the likes of the legends who are no longer performing to that desired standard. We've mentioned Ribery before. I mean, Ribery.
Yeah.
Robbery.
Ribery.
Before. But we have Robben. Arjen Robben was also a top player for the German side. Poland and Netherlands also played yesterday, and the game ended in 1-1. But Netherlands one might imagine, they are the favorites to try and win this particular group, despite having to come back against Poland, courtesy of Memphis Depay, and who equalized in that particular game. So in that particular table, Group G, we are having Netherlands on top with the 17 points, Poland with 14 points, then Finland, who are sitting third. And one would imagine that Poland will be the team to qualify the second place ahead and move towards the playoffs. But for Netherlands, they are in contention, and they play next time out against, I think, Lithuania.
Yeah.
One might see this as a walkover for them to qualify for the next time out. How do you see this?
I will say both the teams have the power to qualify.
Right.
And in that, among the two teams, I have no favorite.
Yes.
Because although it is just a qualification, but it is still a hard game for the two sides.
Right. It is indeed a tough one, because one has to come up on top at the end of the day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is just a look at some of the games that did play from Thursday and yesterday, Friday, as far as the European qualifications ahead of the World Cup 2026 is concerned. But then again, also today we have interesting matches. Kazakhstan are opening the game against Belgium. This is around 5 p.m. The opening matches for today. This is an interesting match because Belgium quite been there before. Just like I like the way you say that some of the teams that they're automatic qualifiers for World Cup, the likes of Belgium. So it will be interesting to see this particular game panning out. Later on, we'll be having Georgia and Spain also in action. Spain without Yamin Yamal, but Georgia also another tough side to face. How do you see this panning out?
Spain will win it, especially in the first half.
Yes.
This one you have to
tiki-taka, tiki-taka, tiki-taka.
Because when you look at Spain,
Right.
Spain, especially they are missing Rodri, but with Zubimendi and
Merino.
also Merino in that midfield, they are looking so balanced.
Right.
Yeah, especially not forgetting Cucurella on the left side.
Yes.
He's an attacking defender, and he really produces goals for the team, and that shows that Spain against Kazakhstan, against Georgia,
Georgia, right.
it is a straight win for Spain.
All right, that is a straight win for Spain. Turkey against Bulgaria. Turkey, one of the sides that have been doing really well. They have quality players in their squad against a side like Bulgaria. Can Bulgaria really cause a lot of problems for Turkey?
No, Turkey are ahead of Bulgaria by a mile.
Right.
Especially even if you look at the table, Turkey are second while Bulgaria is the last. So I don't think Bulgaria with 0 points will start their game these last hours by beating Turkey. No, Turkey has to qualify alongside Spain.
All right, another mouth-watering clash later on will be Switzerland playing against Sweden. Now, this is very interesting because Sweden, despite them not starting off really well in this particular the qualifiers, they're having a new manager, Graham Potter, who has experience, should I say, as far as managing top teams and top players is concerned. He had Chelsea under his purview. He had West Ham under his purview. So he has the ability to try and guide Sweden to at least a playoff position, because as far as automatic qualifications is concerned, Sweden are far out in the table. They are last on the table with a single point, but 2 points behind Slovenia. They can try and to cause maybe an upset against Switzerland and qualify for a playoff position. But then again, Switzerland, on the other hand, who they need a win or a draw in this particular fixture. Is this a potential for them? Is a win potential for Switzerland against Sweden?
I will say Switzerland can win against Sweden by a mile, because when you look at that side of Sweden, despite them having the best players in Alexander Isak and Victor Gyökeres, those are in the striking position.
Right.
But when it comes to the team fighting spirit and that spirit of winning and qualifying, the spirit is not there. Let's look at their last game. They lost, and that made the coach to be sacked on the same day.
Right.
And that shows you that the bringing in of Potter makes them to start again from the drawing board to see where there's some mistake the team has been doing and try to rectify them.
Right.
But here they have to perform. They are coming to perform. And remember, the team they are playing against, it is Switzerland. Switzerland are already experienced, and they are already planned themselves that they are going to play in the World Cup.
Right.
Especially they are leading this Group B. And now that they are leading the group, I don't see Sweden coming from the last
Place.
Position, that is with 1 point only,
Right.
and coming to overthrow the likes of Slovakia and Kosovo to make sure that they go hand in hand with Switzerland.
Yes.
That cannot make sense to me. I can say that Sweden, although we love you, Sweden, but this time you are looking to be out than how much you are in. So
Right.
Sweden is out. That is, and that is what will happen for sure, because even if they draw with Switzerland, that means
Switzerland automatic qualification,
Yeah.
but them.
but them they cannot qualify.
Right.
And even if they win, they will have 4 points.
Right.
And that 4 point, it means they will be in the playoff. And if Kosovo wins, it means there is no playoff.
There's no playoff
Kosovo
for
will
them.
qualify direct.
Yes.
And the likeness of Sweden beating Switzerland is minimal.
Right.
So it is Switzerland, Kosovo qualify automatically.
Right. I really do feel for them, because I like the way they played in the previous World Cup. Sweden they have a lot of good players.
Yeah.
Victor Lindelof.
Yeah.
You know, the likes of Isak, and you know, it is a step going back to the drawing board, because Gyökeres, Isak, having the likes of Kulusevski in your squad as well. Elanga.
Yeah.
Top players, but then again, one can imagine, you know, how did it go wrong for them? But hopefully they do come back next time round. And but for this time round, ladies and gentlemen, we are not seeing Sweden making a comeback. Qualifiers, or the African World Cup 2026 qualifiers, or the CAF qualifiers, as how you might like it, and they are taking place in Morocco. And this is one interesting tournament, because these teams that are qualifying, you know, they are coming up because they are the 4 teams that were runners up across the 9 African qualifying teams. Already we have 9 African teams that have already qualified through to the World Cup. So talking about the likes of Algeria, the likes of Egypt, the likes of Ivory Coast. But this time again, these 4 teams, you know, what are now in the playoffs, were in the playoffs rather, and to try and be part of the qualifiers, the 9 teams that have qualified for the 2026 World Cup. We had Nigeria playing against Gabon, and also Cameroon playing against the DR Congo. Now, for Nigeria against Gabon, one might see that between the two sides, Nigeria were the favorites against Gabon because of many reasons, among them being the fact that Nigeria boasts a lot of top players in the squad, unlike Gabon, maybe two, 3 players over there. But it was a commendable performance. All goals coming in the second half for Nigeria. Makona, how would you assess the two sides, how they played?
I'll say Nigeria is always a big side.
Right.
And also, when you look at the history Nigeria has had, despite the recent form, their form recently has dipped.
Right.
But they are still one of the teams that we could look up to and say these teams really fight for especially if they want to qualify for the World Cup. They are one of the teams in Africa that usually qualifies for the World Cup frequently.
Yes.
Alongside the likes of Senegal, Egypt sometimes, Ivory Coast.
Yes.
These nations, you have to find them in the World Cup. This season, maybe Cameroon will miss out, and that is one of the reasons I say this thing has to be the lucky one goes with it.
Right.
So it is a matter of just looking at who qualifies and who performs at the highest level.
Right.
And even if your team or a nation that you expected to qualify has not qualified, there's always next time, and things do pan out differently according to seasons. So I'll say Nigeria can qualify this time, but next season you may find that Kenya is the one that is going to qualify. Although Kenya in our history, sometimes we have been coming near to qualify,
right,
but sometimes setbacks or we can say history repeats itself. Since we have not qualified, but we are hoping to qualify.
Right.
We are hoping to beat that history that has been there, that Kenya doesn't qualify. But to these big nations like the likes of Nigeria and Senegal, Egypt, these nations have to qualify. So it is a matter of just saying Nigeria, their football, especially this time, has really gone down.
Has really gone down.
Yeah.
Right, but, that can be the effect is also there in some of their players. For example, when you look at Ademola Lookman, for example, since his drama in the transfer window with Atalanta, him wanting to switch sides to Inter Milan, that failed. But then again, Atalanta, he started off really slow as their striker. And that has somewhat affected the Atalanta playing style, because they have not been winning their games in the leagues. And also that translates to the player, the form of the player. He is not really on form himself at the Mola Lukman. But then again, a lot of quality players in the team. For Nigeria, as far as the Europe representation is concerned, as you compare to Gabon. But another heartbreak. This is a heartbreak.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, there is no Mbeumo, as far as World Cup is concerned. No Andre Onana as far as World Cup is concerned. And generally, no Cameroon, because they fell down to a 1-0 defeat against DR Congo. And this is a formidable side that are really, really good at the defensive department. I'm talking about DR Congo. And one might say that tomorrow's mouth-watering clash between DR Congo now and Nigeria, because you have to have one winner to proceed and to join the 9 other teams. Now, DR Congo did really well against a side that has the most, he has represented Africa the most, 8 times, as far as World Cup is concerned. Cameroon has played the World Cup 8 times, the most side to play World Cup as far as African countries is concerned. And this time round, you're going to miss them in this the most coveted tournament as far as football is concerned. How did you make this performance? Was it Cameroon short as far as them scoring goals, or they played really poorly, or was it DR Congo the better side because they did their homework, good defensive, but then again good attack as well to earn them the single point, the 3 points rather?
The two sides, when you look at their play, they really tried to find chances in the first 90 minutes.
Yes.
And those 90 minutes, the goal came in the second half. That was 90 plus 1 minute.
90 plus 1, yes.
That was in the added minutes.
Right.
So it means the two teams were they were going head to head
Yes.
in the game, and there was no side that was trying to weaken itself when it comes to winning.
Right.
I will say Congo, in this game, they qualified through luck. We call it luck because Cameroon was the best side when it comes to playing, and maybe Congo considered most of their shots on target.
Right.
They were coming from Cameroon, these shots, and maybe it was just their luck. They didn't concede from one of them, or they didn't have something to say that this was a threat from Cameroon that could have led to a goal.
Right.
So after they made sure that in the 90 minutes there was no goal, they decided now to try a luck. And they made sure they scored through Mbemba in the 90 plus 1 minutes. And Mbemba made sure that his side qualified to the playoffs, that is the final. And I hope DR Congo will continue with the same spirit until they reach the final, until they qualify the World Cup, because tomorrow at 10 p.m. at night, they will be playing against Nigeria. And Nigeria, when you compare Nigeria and DR Congo, I'll say Nigeria have a higher chance of qualifying. But we don't know what happens, because Congo have already come a long way, and they are looking to qualify through thin and thick. And I give them a chance also.
Yes.
Though Nigeria are looking as the big boys in this thing, and I also give them my credit because they can still win this thing and qualify. But we don't know what the coach for DR Congo is preparing.
Yes.
He's cooking something. I'm sure he's cooking something. He's now where he's seated, he's just looking at the highlights of Nigeria.
Back to back.
He's looking at how they score. He's looking how to stop them. And it may not be easy tomorrow at 10 p.m. and this one I have to watch also.
Right.
And knowing that the two sides, when you compare the two sides, Nigeria is far better than DR Congo when
Okay.
it comes to football.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one way to find out, and just like you mentioned, tomorrow 10 p.m., Nigeria playing off against DR Congo. Now, the winner will progress to the 6-team intercontinental qualifier match that will be played in the month of March next year. That is the final two teams to be they'll be included for the World Cup and as part of the qualifying teams for the World Cup. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is quite a mouth-watering clash. Tomorrow, Nigeria playing against DR Congo. For Cameroon, they will play it next time. You know, they have a chance now for Manchester United fans. At least, yes. Now we have no worries as far as Mbeumo now taking another break because as this is a view banner. When they go for these clashes, they come back with injuries. So we now understand that for Manchester United fans, Mbeumo will be there all through to now focus on the Premier League. But as far as Cameroon is concerned, in the World Cup, they are a no-show. As far as Gabon is concerned, they are a no-show as well. Be sure to send us your thoughts and opinions as far as the predictions is concerned. Will it be Nigeria? Will it be DR Congo to proceed and join the other teams in the intercontinental qualifiers? They're playing against the DR Congo, and the name of the game is winning. So one side, only one team will be able to come out on top tomorrow at 10 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now switching stances to the Sport Pesa League, the local action. We are in match day 9 of the Sport Pesa League. I know there's an international football going on as far as the World Cup qualifiers is concerned. But as far as the KPL is concerned, we have enticing matches. This afternoon, we have early kickoffs that are already ongoing. But then again, more total in clashes, Makona. Ama namna gani?
Yeah.
First of all, just to start by reporting on yesterday's KCB against Bidco United. It was a disappointing performance. And I'm pretty sure KCB fans, me being among them, right? Because ever since, especially the appointment of Robert Matano, I had imagined that we are going to see a resurgence of a KCB side because the bankers, they've been known to be at least top 6, at least ikienda sana when they're doing really bad. But this time around, since the season started, we are not seeing the KPL, the KCB side that we are used to, because since the game started, they are now 12th with only 8 points. A disappointing start for KCB, and against Bidco United, one had imagined they might perhaps get desirable points. But Bidco United also started this season really well, and this is the reason why they sort of try and fought tooth to nail, try and hold off KCB yesterday, ending in a 0-0 win. What did you make of this particular game, Makona?
I'll say KCB form has gone down
Right.
the way we are used to knowing KCB. And Bidco United this season is showing that they want to go back to top because currently they have 12 points while KCB has 8 points after the draw. So I think the two sides are looking sharp this season, but KCB, the one we used to know, and especially it had some players playing in the Chan,
Right.
we can say the form of the team is going down.
Yes.
And it's going down slowly because by this time last season, we had KCB being top 10 there, and especially, let's say, top 6. That is where FC Leopards are now currently.
Right.
And we have to give credit to the likes of Sofapaka, Nairobi United, Posta Rangers, and Kakamega Homeboys for keeping Gor Mahia and making them look like they need to have a run for their money.
Right.
Because KCB, we hoped that they should be in the top, let's say top 5. But now KCB has gone down, and we have other teams that I've told you, that's Posta Rangers, Kakamega Homeboys, and Nairobi United. They are giving the first team, that is Gor Mahia,
Right.
a stiff competition for the top spot.
Yes.
And I can say, despite all those happenings, this or the draw was fair to Bidco United, knowing that Bidco United is one of the teams that had an history, but over the years it has been down, and this may be due to the withdrawals of sponsors and maybe other factors that may have led to a team to go down like this. But this season, they are also coming back and showing their prowess in the top flight, that is the Kenya Premier League.
Indeed. For Bidco United, of course, that particular draw, despite it being a draw, it strengthened their top four options or position. And one might imagine that when they play next, because they're playing Bandari next, and Bandari are 15th on the table with 7 points, despite not much being between them. This is after that desirable performance against KCB, one would imagine that Bandari should not cause a lot of problems for Bidco. What do you think?
Bandari will still cause a lot of problems for Bidco.
Yes.
Because even when you compare Bandari, despite them being 15th on the table, they still have that fighting spirit. I looked at their game when they were playing was it against Shabana,
Right.
and they were playing a really good progressive football. So I still have the hope that Bandari will come back again and fight Bidco for the points. So though it is a difficult match, but
Right.
Bandari have a higher hand of winning the game.
Right. Of course, for KCB on their side, they are playing against Mara Sugar. Now, Mara Sugar really did well last time out against FC Leopards, winning 2-0. And not many had anticipated such kind of a result from a side that are not really they don't know the ways of the KPL as much as the likes of FC Leopards or KCB for that reason, whom they are playing next. Now, Mara 10th on the table with 10 points. When you look at the past games for Mara Sugar, they have won 2 games. They have drew 3 games. No losses for them. But for KCB now, a side that is very shaky. 2 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses so far for KCB. Against Mara Sugar, this will be a tough one for them. Or do you see KCB maybe bouncing back to winning ways?
I can say Mara Sugar will also upset KCB. Because KCB, when you look at their form has really, really dipped, as I told you earlier.
Right.
And in this game, I can say Mara Sugar have that upper hand of winning. Now that Mara Sugar, they are fighting so hard to be seen, just to be seen, because when I say to win the league, maybe that is something else. But they are fighting either to avoid relegation and be seen as a top team in the top flight.
Right.
That is, no one will like to play in the National Super League in the likes of Mara Sugar and maybe KCB. But due to that competency in the National Super League, these teams may not like to be there. Look at the teams that have gone there and they have never came back. And every season there's a promotion, we see other teams coming from the National Super League.
Right.
So it is also hard to go down there and fight to come back. So every team that is playing in the top flight is trying so hard that they may not be relegated to the National Super League. And I give credit to Mara Sugar, and Mara Sugar can upset KCB. My prediction is Mara Sugar win or draw.
Mara Sugar win or draw. That is a very that is a statement. That is a good prediction, because I'll side with you there. When you started, you mentioned that KCB have really dropped points this season and they've really struggled to come back on course. So against Mara Sugar, a side that is at the moment flying high, at the moment they are confident of themselves. They're playing against a side that for some sort of reason they have diminished their confidence as far as this series is concerned. I don't know if it's a tactic issue, because Robert Matano is new, coming up with new tactics, for example. Maybe the players are finding it seemingly difficult to play under him, or maybe he needs a transfer window. What do you think?
Any team that changes the coach or changes the staff must have ups and downs,
Right.
before they settle in very well. Remember, Robert Matano has not even made the first transfer window at the club,
Right.
and is just new to the club, and he needs to adapt and make sure that he knows how KCB want to play. He knows the availability of resources at the club and the availability of human resources, that is the players available,
Yes.
to tune them to his own style of play, to make sure that they are competitive at the highest, best level. So it is still a matter of trial and error. That's why he has never won any game this season. And going forward, we need to see him winning, but that shall not come so easy. We have to wait and make sure that we give him ample time to make sure the squad is in a good position to compete.
All right. And right about now, I want to take your predictions for these particular games. 14th place meets second. That is Madara United playing against Kakamega Homeboys. For Madara United, they are somewhat sharing points with the likes of KCB there. But for Kakamega Homeboys, back-to-back wins, despite the past 2 draws that they've had, they are doing really well at the second position. Do you see them suffering against Madara United, or this is a straight win for them?
Kakamega Homeboys will win. That's a straight win. I think I have told you earlier that when you look at the standings, they are only 1 point away from the top spot. That is Gor Mahia are having 16 points while they are having 15 points.
Right.
So if they win against, that is Kariobangi? Madara United.
Right.
If they win against Madara United, they are going to go top. Despite Gor Mahia having 1 game in hand, it doesn't mean anything. But putting them into check every time, so that when if the likes of Gor Mahia and Posta Rangers drop points, they will be the holders of the first position. That shows that Kakamega will beat Madara United.
Of course, there's only one way to find out again, and that will be when the 2 sides play out later on this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of our program, but then again, interesting fixtures there, and I'm pretty sure on Monday, be sure to catch up Mololo and Felix Makona